glad to have you back, and I hope you've been enjoying what you've been seeing. Before the video ends, don't forget to give this video a like, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for my future content. So in a previous video that I've made, I alluded to the fact that I had made a 2021 manifestations and goals list that I wanted to complete within this year. It would be an absolute lie if I didn't say that 2020 was an amazing year for me. If you haven't seen the video already, definitely give the previous video, which would be my 2020 recap video, a watch before you even watch this one. My previous video will give some perspective as to why 2020 was such an amazing year for me, and it will explain why I decided to create this video. So prior to 2020 ending, I had made an extensive list of all of the goals and manifestations that I wanted to accomplish within this year. And let's just say that that list ended up being 4 pages long, double column. When I made this list, I wanted to give myself the most detailed description of how I wanted my 2021 to look like. I was very specific on what I wanted, but I was not too detailed to box myself in because I didn't want to make the goals unattainable for me to be able to accomplish. With this list, I decided to go very general, but I also decided I wanted things that I could easily incorporate and easily change in my life on a day-to-day basis. And some things on my list I have absolutely no control over. Hence, my manifestation is a project of magic. And manifestation doesn't always just include us, the individual. It includes timelines, people, and their free choice and things as well. There's just a lot of other stuff in the mix. Some people might agree with me that our hands are not the only hands in the pot. Considering how extensive the list is, obviously being OCD, I tend to get caught up in the details, and I tend to get caught up in the fact that I may not have accomplished everything on my list. So I have vowed to myself that this year I will not be disappointed if I only accomplish one thing. I am going to be happy with whatever progress I make this year, whether it be one thing checked off the list or whether it be every single item. And to kind of give you some perspective as well, I will only be sharing a couple of things from each category on my list. Part of that is due to privacy and that I don't want anything to sabotage my list. Sometimes when other people get involved in knowing what we're trying to manifest, sometimes things happen and sometimes people's opinions of us change our mindset on what we want to do. So I have categorized 10 things on my list of overarching topics in my life that I want to achieve. 1, being friendships and relationships. 2, being social interactions. 3, health and fitness. 4, beauty and fashion. 5, my spiritual side. 6, my financial side. 7, hobbies. The shop being number 8. 9, purchases for this year. And 10 would be an other category. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So for friendships and relationships, I have realized over the last couple of years that I have led a very secluded and at times very lonely life. I have a handful of people that I feel like I can reach out to on the daily, and to be honest, being the type of person that I am, an introvert, I don't reach out to people very often to try to build a connection. I think I finally realized that I no longer want that for myself. So I have made the goal to try to find 5 very close friends this year. And if not find them, at least try to reconnect with some of my old good friends. I think by trying to do this, it's going to give me a sense of purpose and almost completeness. I feel that for the majority of my life, I've always been on the outside looking in on things and always just felt out of place, like I don't belong. And to be honest, I'm kind of tired of that narrative. So I am taking active steps this year to fix that. Number 2, social interactions, which is almost directly correlated to number 1. There are a lot of boxes that I have under this category. And to be honest, all of them are pretty much personal. And I'm not going to be sharing these, but I do have one that's kind of silly but kind of fun too, so let me explain. When I was a kid and growing up in high school, we were living and still are living in a very small community. And it's basically a small town, and the biggest thing during the week, at least for my family, would be going to basketball games or football games at my old and previous high school. And this year, because 2020 sucked for all of us in regards to social interactions and getting out and experiencing things, I've made it a goal that I want to attend as many sporting events by the end of this year at my old high school as possible. Yes, this is going to be one thing that I have absolutely no control over, because unfortunately the virus is still very much a thing right now. So whether or not this goal is going to be accomplished, I don't know, but that's where I'm relying on my magic. And to be honest, because we haven't attended any of those basketball games and football games, I've really been missing the pretzels. That's one of the highlights of me going, let's be honest, the concessions. Number 3, health and fitness. If you'd watched my last video, and if you haven't yet, please go take a look at that, because it'll make a whole lot of sense of why I'm creating this video. I had mentioned that I had attended CrossFit for several months, and to be honest, it was a pretty good experience overall. I had gained a couple of friends in that program. I had gained confidence in what my body can do for me, and it was nice to see the results that the program had done for me physically. However, I had fallen off the bandwagon in about November of 2020, where I had just stopped going. And honestly, that was a very costly mistake, because if you don't know, CrossFit is a very large investment. We're talking a lot of money to go every month. And to not go is literally just burning money in the fireplace. Because I have not been attending a gym, obviously some of the health and weight losses, I guess, overall is kind of a gain because I'm losing. You get what I'm saying. But overall, I think it's best for me to look into trying to find a different gym. To be honest, that membership's no longer serving my needs. I've learned my lesson. I've gained confidence from having gone there for such an extended period of time. The workout showed me that I can do it. I can do rigorous workouts. I can do things that I never thought I could. And it gave me confidence because I was able to join something and participate in something that I never thought I would be able to do. So that is my first sub-goal in health and fitness, is trying to find a new gym. My second is honestly just developing a deep desire to drink more water and eat foods that are good for my body. I think the way that I've worded it, in developing a deep desire to want to do that's way more important, because it's going to hopefully change any bad habits that I've developed over the 26 years of my life so far. And then my third subtask for health and fitness is getting the COVID vaccine safely. Number 4, fashion and beauty. Yes, I did go ahead and make this an overarching topic of my life as well that I wanted to touch on. Might be somewhat vain, but to be honest, beauty, fashion is a part of my life, and it's something that I find joy in. So why wouldn't I include it in this list? My first sub-point is to develop a healthy and sustainable self-care night routine that I enjoy doing. And yes, I did include sustainable because obviously when I get home from the shop, it's super late. And I don't want to have to go through a 21-step process just to feel like I am doing what I need to for skincare, self-care, etc. And sub-point 2 is a long one, so please bear with me. Yes, I have a cheat sheet. Sorry, I'm human. So the second sub-point basically says to find and wear clothing articles that make me feel the most beautiful and most confident version of myself. That also highlights my sense of fashion. My rationale for choosing this sub-point would be the fact that I have realized that I, in the past, have chosen to wear items that I don't enjoy wearing. And these items don't make me feel confident, they make me feel insecure. So I have basically resolved myself to sitting down and figuring out exactly what I want my wardrobe to consist of. I've resolved myself to only spend money on items that make me feel the most beautiful and the most confident, and to only let these items come into my closet and into my space. Point number 5 is probably the part or the subject that I'm most looking forward to working on this year. My first sub-point includes continuing sessions with my life coach. Not only has she been a great support for me in 2020, but she continues to be a great support, and she continues pushing, guiding, however you want to express it, for me to continue evaluating my belief systems, my spiritual beliefs, my religious beliefs, and just prefabricated beliefs that I've had growing up. She challenges me to become a better person, and I would be an idiot to not include her in my 2021. The next sub-point is very personal, but I think it's too important not to include here. So the generalized version of this sub-point is basically to heal. To kind of give you a little bit of an explanation without diving too deep into it, I, over the past year in 2020, have, I guess, observed and have taken note of different belief systems and patterns that I fall victim to as a result of my OCD and as a result of my upbringing. I need to work on these in order to become a better person, and I need to work on these to try to get some closure and to try to start my life fresh and new. Sub-point number 3, super easy, most of you might even do this as well, would be to journal every day. And the fourth sub-point for my spiritual side of 2021, learn to meditate. Meditation is, how do I say, wonderful. I am making it a goal to meditate a little bit more frequently, and to meditate not necessarily when I'm stressed out, just to meditate to try to, I guess, treat myself to a little bit of relaxation and bliss. We're gonna try it. Point number 6 includes my financial goals for this year. One very important thing that I want to continue doing, because 2020 did not let me down, so I want to continue this progress for 2021, and that is to be able to pay my student loans on time and in full throughout all of 2021. Point 7. Hobbies. This one's pretty straightforward. So the first sub-point is to basically learn how to cook 2 meals that I love very much. Sub-point number 2 is basically to find 2 additional hobbies that I enjoy doing. And point number 3 is to learn 2 basic knitting stitches. Point number 8. The shop. I personally have a lot of goals in relation to our family's business for this year. One goal is to basically take on more roles of leadership within the business, partly because at one point in the future, I will be taking over the business and will be fully responsible for its owning and operation. Partly because I need to learn all aspects of the business if I am to take it over one day. And the last partly because in the past I have not been good as far as stepping up and being a leader with my own family shop. Subpoint number 2 is to develop the mindset of not being so stuck in the details and the mundane of the shop, rather keeping in mind the overall picture and the overall purpose of the shop. And the last subpoint under that topic is actually pretty fun. It's basically just having 3 really good memories with our employees and kids at the shop this year. Last year we weren't able to really have a whole lot of fun because of COVID. It took a lot of opportunities to try to interact and bond with our crew away from us, which I am kind of salty about. Number 9, purchases. Basically, for purchases this year, I only want to purchase beauty, fashion, and accessory items that I find joy in. And the last topic, which would be other personal goals that I have for myself. One goal that doesn't fit anywhere else, but it's so important to include because she's such an important part of my life, is to basically give Lexi, my dog, more love-ins on a daily basis. And my last sub-point is basically starting a hope chest. And if you haven't heard of that phrase as of yet, it's basically a fancy way of saying a collection of things that you want to carry into your life with marriage and having a family. And that's it. I mean, I'm like 42 minutes into talking. Obviously, I'm gonna try to edit that down a whole lot by the time you see this. I will be working on all of these goals throughout all of 2021. And I've promised myself that if I can at least check one thing off of the list by the end of 2021, I will be happy with my progress. Thank you for watching the entire video. Obviously, it helps me out in growing my channel, so I do appreciate you sticking around and watching it all in its entirety. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Remember to live faithfully, to lead courageously, and to love unconditionally. Bye, guys. To make the goals unaccomplishable. That's not a word.